Now, bam, we off pause over here. Who all on here? What's going on, New York? What's going on, Billy? We doing all this. Yeah, hold on. All right, so
Security.
security. Nah, okay, yeah, we off pause. So this, bam. Oh wait, see that boy? I'm killing him. Henry Jr.
Jessica.
And we happily married, and we off pause over here. All right, so, today we talking about empowering each other, and all the stuff you can go through. Pretty much, yeah, with empowering someone. So,
My phone, I'm gonna check on her every now and then.
we had to make sure she was eating, getting her feel. You know what I mean? So we talking about empowering each other. Okay, first, so where we gonna start at is me going back to school or whatnot. Okay, and let's we gotta get some backstory about that. Okay, so we don't give a lot of backstory.
You want me to tell the story?
I mean, I don't know. I don't care.
Okay. So Henry and I first met. I was going to school. That's how we met. It was at Sinclair. A lot of you already know that from previous shows. So after he had some rocky points in his life, he decided he wanted to go back to school. And in order for him to go back to school, he needed me to come and live with him to help with the financial situation. To help with paying the bills and stuff. I mean, not that he was in a bad financial situation. It was just helping him pay bills so he could cut his hours so he could go back to school. So he went back to school. And that was part of me helping empowering him because, not everyone would have said, I'm not, because we had lived together before that. And I had moved out. And I hadn't moved back in until this time. And was to help him with going back to school. Which, at that time, I wasn't in school. I eventually did go back to school. But anyways, so that's basically what we were talking about is him going back to school. But then you could talk about how I helped you. Like, what was your, or whatever you want to talk about.
I know, right? Host, co-host. Now, with the whole, it was like she was encouraging, like, well, yeah, I know you can do it, and I got faith in you and all that, and I ain't never really had nobody to do that, like, because pretty much everybody in my life, they was pretty much you gonna fail, so I'm just waiting to see you fail. So I mean, it was refreshing, basically, like to be able to be like yeah, so I got somebody, and plus she had already went to school, so like pretty much it was like, okay, so if something do happen with me in school, I can ask her about it and get her input or insight on what it takes or how to do it or whatnot. So that's pretty much that's how she empowered me, was like just letting me know that I had some support there. So if I needed anything, or because I learned a lot like in school, but I also learned a lot from her about the
process of going to school.
Yeah, and the techniques you use and everything like that. So that was what was empowering for me, just having a support system. It's like you'll be amazed how far you can go when you got people around you that support your ideas, regardless how crazy or stupid they are. Like it's kind of sweet. So that's where I'm at.
And it was easy for me to help him because I'm an academic person by heart. Like, I love learning. I knew from kindergarten I wanted to go to college. And I always had a huge support system from my mom. So that really helped me motivate, stay motivated in school. So I just helped Henry stay motivated. There was a lot of times we'd argue about him going to school. Because I'd be telling him what I think he should be doing, and he'd be like, well, that's not what I want to do. And then he would realize after a while, when he tried to do whatever I suggested, he'd be like, what, that kind of worked.
Yeah. Like the one thing, and this has become a life lesson for me. Like it's really like this the one thing. This is something I got from school that I apply to like everyday life situations. Like, 'cause I used to have like, okay, say I had 6 projects due. I'd be trying to work on a little bit of the first one, a little bit of all of them at the same time, and it would take me, like weeks to even get one thing halfway done. So I'll be working on something that's due in 6 weeks, and I wouldn't have it done to the 5.5 week mark. Like, why is this taking so long? And then it was like, she broke it down to me like, well, why don't you just finish this and then move on to the next one and finish that, move on to the next one, finish that, move on to the next one. So pretty much I started doing that, man, and you'll be amazed. Stuff was getting done like that, man. Like, I'm like, oh, so all I got to do is really concentrate on finishing the one thing I'm starting on and then move to the next project without trying to, and that's been like a business thing for me too, because it's like I try to do so much instead of finishing one thing. Like, okay, just finish this one thing first, get paid for that, then move on to the next one. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much become my life lesson about that. Yeah.
And then the 50-10 rule. 50 minutes of work.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. And she also taught me this now. And I went and researched it, because when she said it, I was kind of like, whatever. And then I went and actually researched it. So it's like I would study for 50 minutes or do whatever for 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. And then I'd do it for 50 minutes and take a 10-minute break. And I was getting so much stuff done that I had to actually look it up, like, why is this working? And it comes down to the point of your brain. There's some real stuff. You can look it up if you want to. Your brain can only process 50 minutes at a time. So after the 50th minute, your brain start replacing stuff that you learned at the first, the second, third, through the, you know what I mean? Like, if you go, say you go 10 minutes over 50, say you go for a whole hour. The first 10 minutes you learn, they're gone. Because your brain can only process 50 minutes of information at a time. So, and then that was great. I still do that to this day. Like, man, I'm going to take me a 50. I'm going to go for 50. I'm going to take a 10. Go for 50, take a 10. Like, so, yeah.
Because prior to that, he would work on something for like 4 hours.
And wouldn't get nothing done.
And his eyes would be blurry. He would be exhausted and still not finish anything. And I'm like, and then it would be like, if you have a project that's due tomorrow, but you have a project that's due in 2 weeks, why are you working on a project that's due in 2 weeks? Well, you got a project due tomorrow. And then you also got to prioritize.
We on pause over here.
How long something's going to take. Like, you have to be able to judge, okay, this is going to take me 20 minutes. This could take me an hour. This could take, 2 days, and break it up so that even if it's something not going to get accomplished in that day, you've separated it out so that you're not overwhelming yourself. That was another thing. He would get so overwhelmed with all his projects because his art stuff isn't like 5-minute work. Like,
Right.
He'd have to sketch stuff, and then he'd have to do it, hand work, like we'd do it on paper, and then he'd have to do stuff on the computer. It was a lot. So yeah, I just learned that, because that's how most college classes are. If it's every day of the week, or at least 3 days a week, more than 3 days a week, it's 50-minute classes. Just because they know your brain doesn't do so well after that. So, okay, we talked a lot about on that topic, so we're going to move on. So,
Host. We moving on. She said we moving on, boss.
So, everybody knows that Henry's a graphic designer. Well, if you don't already know, he's a graphic designer. And, I've dabbled into the personal coaching or life coaching just because there's a lot of things that I learned from my degree that I can help people with. But primarily, we've focused on Henry's business, HR Designs, too.
Junior. That's what that means.
Right.
Junior.
So, I haven't always been the most encouraging with him on that because, I'm an engineer. I like to see, like, proof of stuff. And being a designer, being an artist, there's not always proof of work or proof of time spent. So, it also, I have a lot of ideas. Like, I'm very creative, like, coming with ideas. So, I'm constantly throwing ideas at him. And then I expected him to, like, turn it over the next day. Like, why haven't you done that? I just gave you, like, 10 ideas. Why haven't you worked on 5 of them yet? So sometimes being as excited or more excited about their business than they are is not a good thing. Sometimes you got to step back a little bit. Sometimes you have to be, in order to be supportive, sometimes you have to be neutral. Don't say anything about anything unless they come to you about it. Because sometimes the more information you give them or the more suggestions or the more ideas, it just discourages them because it's just like you're giving them too much. And you're also not giving them a chance to come up with stuff on their own.
And it wasn't even really, my thing, it wasn't coming up with the stuff on my own. It was like, she'll say something, and then I'd be like, okay. And then she'll say like 4 more things, and I'd be like, okay, this is just like when I was in school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, before I learned to finish one thing at a time, like, okay, let me finish this first one, and then you can give me another idea. And then or write them down, and we can put them on a checklist or something. You know what I mean? So we had to really, like, that was good. But yeah, we support, like, she good. She be getting on my butt sometimes. That's what I probably need sometimes. I probably need a good stiff kicking sometimes, but you know what I mean? She take it easy. She don't really kick. She just nudge like, hey. Hey. You know you could be, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so that's, yeah.
And that goes along with supporting each other's ideas. You know, so sometimes Henry's designs or the things he comes up with, I'm not super wild about. Like, I don't see what he sees. But I'm not going to say that. I mean, so I'll just say I don't like it, you know, or I don't like this, or I don't like that, because I don't have his eye. I don't see things. Just like there's some ties that he has, I don't like them, but I'm not wearing them. So I could be like, I don't like that tie, but that's still okay for him to wear because he likes it. So even if you don't like the idea, or you don't understand it, or you're just like, that makes no sense, still support them because they have a vision and you might not see the vision. But downgrading their idea, or, you know, saying, oh, that's stupid, or you can't do that's not going to have any positive impact on them. So just saying, well, I don't get it, because there's sometimes I don't get it, you know, and I'll be like, well, draw it, or let me see it on the computer, like once he's done putting together on the computer, and then I'd be like, oh, I get it. Or I'd be like, you know, I don't really like that part, or I think maybe we should do it this way. And sometimes he takes my, you know, ideas and he implements them, and sometimes he don't. That's okay, because he's the artist. And one more quick topic, and then we'll move on. We'll move on to YouTube because we're almost out of time. So back to basically the next thing is knowing when to let them make a decision. So I'm a stickler on time. I've always been very focused on time. I've always been very conscious of time. Henry's not. Henry's very like, you know, it's just, we'll just do it this way, or you know, he doesn't allow time to dictate what he's going to do. And to me, I feel like, you know, time should be very important to you because you only have so much time. You know, it seems infinite, but it's really not. So I would say, well, you know, he'd want to go do something, like play the game, or go over somebody's house or whatever. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, you want to build a business, why aren't you spending your time on your business? But there were some times that he would be working on stuff and I didn't know it, you know, because he doesn't have to like report to me. I'm not his boss. So I wouldn't know that he was working on stuff. So for instance, the other night, he had said he was going to go play the game. He has played the game in years. I mean, it feels like years, but it's been a couple, you know, probably about 6 months, 8 months. And in my mind, I thought, well, you know what? He really should be working on business. Because we've had conversations recently about him wanting to be more consistent about what, you know, he's going to do. And if he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it, and being more focused on his business. You know, he's been to the gym 2 days this week, which is incredible. And he went in the morning on one of those days, which is ultimately incredible. On a work day. Hello. And we have a newborn in the house, which he doesn't get any sleep. So, you know. So anyways, but he had come up with the idea. He said, I was going to go play the game. And if, you know, a little bit later, he goes, you know what? I'm not going to play my game until I get this business together. I'm going to go work on logo he's working on. So if I would have said something to him about what I was thinking, it would have come off differently. Because it would have been like, I'm telling him he needs to go work on the business versus play the game. Even if it wasn't my intentions, that's how he's going to hear it. Because regardless of how much business partners we are, I'm still his wife. And when things come out of my mouth, they don't, even though they're suggestions to him, his ears can hear.